Hello everyone, myself Dr. Ravi Keshri. In previous section, I have discussed about the spinal cord, and today I will discuss about the ganglia. What is the ganglia? Very important concept in the neuroanatomy. The ganglia are a collection of neurons. They are the collection of neurons, but outside the central nervous system, not inside the central nervous system, outside the central nervous system. In the central nervous system, the brain and spinal cord are present, and the ganglion, these are the collection of neuron outside the central nervous system. It means it is a part of peripheral nervous system, that is the PNS, peripheral nervous system, and they are present in association with the cranial nerve and the spinal nerve. And student, we know that there are the 31 pairs of spinal nerve and 12 pairs of cranial nerve. 12 pairs of cranial nerve. What are the cranial nerves? First is the olfactory, second is the optic, second is the optic, the oculomotor. We know the third cranial nerve, the olfactory, the optic, the oculomotor, the trochlear, the trigeminal, and there are three division of the trigeminal nerve, that is the ophthalmic, maxillary, and the mandibular, abducent, then the facial, then glossopharyngeal, the vagus nerve, vestibulocochlear, the glossopharyngeal, and then the 10th nerve, that is the vagus nerve, the spinal accessory that supply the two muscles, mainly the sternocleidomastoid and trapezius muscles. These are the very important muscles which are supplied by the spinal accessory, and the hypoglossal nerve, that is the 12th cranial nerve which supply the muscles of the tongue. These are the 12 pair of cranial nerves and the 31 pair of the spinal nerve. Now these ganglia are of the two types. What are two types? One is the sensory ganglia, and second is the autonomic ganglia. What are difference? The sensory ganglia and the autonomic ganglia. Sensory ganglia, they are the collection of pseudo-unipolar neurons. Whereas the autonomic ganglia, they are the collection of the multipolar neurons. The collection of the pseudo-unipolar and collection of the multipolar neuron, the sensory ganglia and the autonomic ganglia. Just like the pseudo-unipolar, it means there is the cell body, then there is the axon and cell body, the nucleus, the cell body and axon. A single process leaves the cells. This is the single process, that is the axon, leaves the cell, and it soon bifurcates at a T junction. Into a peripheral and a terminal process and ends into the central nervous system. That is the pseudo-unipolar. And the multipolar neurons, just like there is the cyton and dendrites, the many dendrites and a single axon, and here is the nucleus. These are the dendrites, that is the multipolar neurons which are present in the autonomic ganglion. The two types of ganglion, one is the pseudo-unipolar, that is the sensory, and the autonomic ganglions. And what are the function of this sensory ganglion? It conducts the impulses from the peripheral organ What is the function of sensory ganglia? What is the function of this sensory ganglia? It conducts the impulses. It conducts the sensory impulses. Conduct the sensory impulses. Sensory impulses, just like the impulse for the vision, for the olfaction, from the peripheral organ. From the peripheral organ to the central nervous system. That is the sensory ganglia. That conduct the sensory impulses from the peripheral organ to the central nervous system. What are the location of these sensory ganglia? What is the location? Location of this sensory ganglia are found in the dorsal root of each spinal nerve. What are the location? What are the location of this ganglia, sensory ganglia? They are found at two location. What are the location? First, in the dorsal root ganglia. Dorsal root ganglia. In the dorsal root ganglia in the spinal nerve. Dorsal root ganglia in the spinal nerve, and in the trunk. In the trunk of which nerve? The 7th, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th cranial nerve. In the trunk of the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th cranial nerve. Example is the just like the genucleate ganglion, which is the sensory ganglion, and this ganglion, it is associated with the 7th cranial nerve. That is the genucleate ganglion, which is the sensory ganglion. The genucleate ganglion, which is the sensory ganglion, and this is ganglia, and this is associated with the 7th cranial nerve. The 7th cranial nerve. Now next is the autonomic ganglia, which is made up of the multipolar neuron. Autonomic ganglia. These are also of the two types. This is the collection of the multipolar neurons. Multipolar neurons. And these are of the two types. One is the sympathetic. Second is the parasympathetic. One is the sympathetic and second is the parasympathetic. Now, what are the location? The sympathetic ganglia, these kind of ganglia are located in the sympathetic trunk.